Afternoon. Um, Welcome back to the channel. Sorry, I don't know why this table keeps shaking, but yeah, welcome back to the channel. I don't even, I don't even know what to say, man. I don't even know what to say. Yeah. I hope you can all hear me. Let me know if you can't hear me. Let me know if you can't see me. Let me know if my internet is moving. Higgy, but I think it should be fine. I think it should be fine. But yeah, big up all of you lot for tuning in. Yeah, if you could do me a couple of favors, just yeah, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and yeah, keep your post notifications turned on. As I mentioned last week, the THFC show will be back this week. It's gonna be on Fuad's channel tomorrow, so keep your eyes peeled for that. I think we got a special guest with us as well. And I'm gonna probably do another one of these videos maybe towards the back end of the week, maybe Thursday, Friday, just a general chat on Spurs, and then I'll obviously look ahead to the Liverpool game as well. But yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess we have to talk about everything that happened yesterday, and I guess we'll. In fact, let me start off with what is probably the most prominent piece of news this morning, which is the fact that Stellini's job is obviously at risk. Um, Apparently, the Spurs are having conversations now. Spurs are having conversations now on the possibility of getting rid of Stellini and putting in Ryan Mason as the second as the second interim coach that we'll have this season to close out the last 5 games of the season. Who we got left? So we got Liverpool away, Crystal Palace at home, Aston Villa away, Brentford at home, and then Leeds away. Yeah, I just, I just, uh, I mean, anything now will have minimal effect. I think the damage is already done. The rot has set. It's just, yeah, man, it's just par for the course, really. But I get it. I just don't understand why Stellini was given this gig in the first place. And when I say these things, I don't say them because I hate Stellini. I don't even blame Stellini. I mean, he's an awful coach. He's a terrible, terrible coach. But honestly, I don't blame Stellini. The same way, Davison Sanchez is a terrible footballer, but I didn't really blame Davison Sanchez. Davison Sanchez is Davison Sanchez. You know what he is. You know he's a bad player. And when you know someone is bad or something is bad and you choose to persist with it, stick with it, promote it, then you have to blame the person who's pulling the strings in the background. And with Stellini, Stevie Wonder could have seen that this guy was not going to be a good appointment for Spurs, even in the short term. Even in the short term. And I remember when I did the video on it as well, my thinking was, I don't believe Spurs are going to get top four with this guy. I don't trust it. I've never rated him as a manager, but he got those wins in February that everyone was gassing up, and he's better than Mason. Those were my only any positive that I could give Stellini. That was it. But the fact of the matter is, this guy is just not a manager. So I don't blame Stellini. He's not a manager. He has never managed any top flight team in his career, apart from Spurs on the interim basis. He's not a manager. He's Conte's number two. And when you sack a man whose methods were not working, you don't hire his number two who would then incorporate the exact same methods. It just doesn't make sense. But that's Tottenham. That's Tottenham. That is literally Tottenham for you. We have a hierarchy that make illogical decisions. And do you know what is hilarious about it as well? From what I was reading last week, the the director of football who resigned because he lost his appeal on a ban that was delivered to him by the FIGC was the one that pushed for Stellini. Daniel Levy accepted, and then even gave us this nonsensical video a couple of weeks back on why Stellini is the right fit in the short term. It's just mental, man. It's just mental. Nothing about this club makes sense. So, like I said, the same way you don't blame a baby for taking a poo in their nappies, the same way you don't blame a dog for pissing on a lamppost, is the same way I don't blame Stellini for doing a terrible job at Spurs, because he is not a coach. This guy is literally not a manager. He is a number two. He's an assistant manager, and he's an assistant manager to Antonio Conte. That's it. He's an assistant manager to Antonio Conte. So of course he was going to come in and do a poor job, because he's not done this job at this level. Don't care about what he did against Fulham. Don't care about what he did against Manchester City. Copying Conte's homework. Basically playing the exact same way Conte would have. Doing the exact same things Conte would have. But I'm meant to give him some respect, some credit for that. So yeah. Don't blame Stellini. Blame Levy. Blame Paratici. Blame the people who put him in place. So the club are looking to make an executive decision today. I imagine they'll probably get rid of him. I mean, you can't really recover from 6-1. That's a historic battering. That's a generational beatdown. 5-0 down in 21 minutes. That's the second fastest a team has been 5-1 down in Premier League history. I don't really think you can recover from that off the back of one win in your previous 3 matches. Didn't beat Everton despite playing against 10 men for a fair amount of that game. Lost to Bournemouth, got hammered by Newcastle and beat Brighton. And that Brighton win is looking ugly and uglier, because that win was disgusting. Spurs didn't deserve to win that game. So we're talking 1 win in 4. 1 win in 4 with 1, 3, 1, 4 with 10 goals. No, wait. We conceded 3 against Bournemouth. Yeah. With 11 goals conceded in 4. It makes for ugly reading. So yeah, I mean, get rid of him by all means, but it's gonna have minimal impact on the season. I don't know what effect they think that's gonna have. And that's the problem with this hierarchy. They make terrible decisions and then they chase their bad decisions, thinking that, oh yeah, the short-term solution is just gonna make things better. Oh yeah, bring in Ryan Mason. Bring in Ryan Mason. What's that gonna change? What is Ryan Mason going to change at this point in the season? Oh, he'll play a back 4. Okay. Oh yeah, he'll try and get the players playing further up the pitch. Okay. He's still gonna lose to Liverpool. He's still gonna lose to Aston Villa. Still might drop points against Palace at this rate. Might drop points against Bournemouth. I mean, Brentford at home at this rate. Probably win, draw, loss. Damn, last game of the season against Leeds, who are fighting for Premier League survival. You back Spurs to win that game against one of the worst defensive sides in the league? I don't. So honestly, it's pointless. No matter what they do now, whether you sack Stellini, whether you hire Mason, it's pointless. The season is over. It is done. The season is done. Finito. I've been saying this for months. since January. Since January, after I think it was after the loss to Arsenal. That was when I packed it in for top four. Not happening. Not happening. Those wins against Man City, West Ham, it's cool, but the belief is not there. When you watch Tottenham play, this does not look like a team that are being coached or playing well enough to actually pull together the run of form you need to finish in the top four. And when you look at the competition, you saw what Newcastle did to us yesterday. That's the competition. You saw what Man United did yesterday in the cup final against Brighton. That's the competition. Man United have got like half their spine missing and will still come to our ground and beat us on Thursday. What does that say about us? All of you lot in the comments trying to be cams, man. Get a grip. I don't want no hugs. I don't want no one hugging me. Big up Sava in the chat as well. It says smile for us, Tobs. Bro, there's nothing to smile about, man. I'll be real with you. There's nothing to smile about. So yeah, I just thought let me give my thoughts on that real quick. I don't care. Sack him, I don't care. Bring in Ryan Mason, I don't care. It will have minimal impact on our season. Ryan Mason coming in isn't going to change the fact that Spurs are going to finish outside the top four. Isn't going to change the fact that Spurs went out in such disgraceful fashions in the cup competitions. It's not going to change a damn thing. It's just going to appease the odd person who's got some weird fascination with Ryan Mason being Spurs manager. It's not going to make an impact for me. Not going to change a damn thing for me. So yeah, let's see what happens there. Thank you for the super chat. So Timmy says, Tobes, have you seen Emerson's agent's quotes? Mate, I saw the quotes and I must admit, I actually laughed. That was the pick-me-up I needed. Honestly, the delusions of grandeur there was off the charts. Brandon asking Poch to Chelsea, what are your thoughts? I would ask you to watch my most recent video. Just if you could just watch that. I spoke on it there, to be honest. So I'm just gonna leave it there. I don't want to talk about it again. But yeah, it's there. I spoke about it last week Friday, along with Enrique. So yeah, it's there. Go check it out. Yeah. But I guess let's actually talk about yesterday's game because I didn't watch that live. As I mentioned, I was basically out supporting my friend at the marathon. Big up Ed as well. 26.2 miles. That's a madness. Crazy feat. So very proud of my friend for completing that. But in the midst of that, my phone was just blowing up. I lost count of the amount of times I had to put WhatsApp chats on do not disturb because I just didn't want to think about it, right? But every single time I put one chat on mute, another chat is popping up. Another person is DMing me. I'm getting phone calls. I'm getting hit up on Twitter. I'm getting hit up on Instagram. I'm just getting attacked from all angles. And it's just like, yo, what is going on here? Like, I was in disbelief. I was in disbelief at what was happening. So I can only think of how bad it was for the traveling support. I can only think of how bad it was for the people who were watching in real time. It was mental. It was absolutely mental. 5-0 down in 21 minutes. 1-0 down within like 2 minutes. 3-0 down within like 8 minutes. I mean, let's talk about the formation, for instance. So I wanted Spurs to switch to a back four, right? But I wanted that purely to try and give our midfield a better opportunity at controlling games and get us within a position where we can actually attack teams better, because I felt like having the spare defender was not helping our attack in any shape or form, right? And I get it. Spurs switched to a back four. They're 5-0 down in 21 minutes. I think only a blind man would refuse to see the impact that the change to a back four had on our team. It definitely had an impact, but I'm not going to use that as the sole reason. It's definitely a reason, but I'm not going to let that get in my way of what was, quite frankly, a bunch of cowards who just gave up. They just gave up, making crazy mistakes, just defending horrifically. So whether you want to play that in the back five, back six, whatever, fundamentally, these guys just didn't have the cojones to play in a way that could actually get them a positive result yesterday. They couldn't live with Newcastle. Let me just give Newcastle their credit, because I've not watched the second half. I only watched the first half back yesterday, and I've got to say the speed in which Newcastle played was crazy. The pressing, our centre backs, our wing fullbacks, goalkeeper, when we try to play out from the back, no time. Midfielders try to turn on the ball, try to play, no time. Attackers try to get into Newcastle's box, no time. All over the pitch, they were just pamming our players into the dirt, winning every 50-50. Yeah. When we had the ball, it felt like they always had the spare player, just smothering us. And when they had the ball, there were overloads all over the pitch, all over the pitch. Why? Because they're coached superbly well this season. Eddie Howe has done a fantastic job. They know what they are. They know what they're good at. They know what they're not good at, and they play to their strengths. It's pretty simple. Well, I mean, it's not simple what he's done. He's done a fantastic job, but I mean, it's pretty simple to see why Spurs lost this game. So I get it. I get the temptation to place it all on the fact that Spurs played a back four, and no doubt that was massive, which is why I wanted to talk about the lineup. I mean, we asked for a back four, but we didn't ask for Perisic to be playing left back. This guy has been terrible defensively, because he can't defend in this league. He can't defend. He's been terrible defensively at left wing back, but he's picked to play left back in a back four. This guy has struggled defensively for Spurs in the back five, but he's picked to play. Sorry, I'm getting it up on my phone now just to see the options. Yeah, he's picked to play in a back five. Bearing in mind, obviously Ben Davies was injured, and he's just come back from injury. Clement Longley obviously went off injured against Bournemouth, right? But you have there on the bench, you have a recognized left back. And then you have a centre back who isn't good, sorry, but plays left centre back and on occasion has played left back. Why is Perisic starting this game at left back? Why? What sensible person makes this decision? What manager makes this decision in the Premier League? I'll tell you, someone who isn't a manager. Stellini. Pedro Porro is a baseball. Pedro Porro, on the looks of things, looks a really bad defender. I've got to say, right? I think he's good with the ball at his feet. He looks a really good crosser. I think his ball striking is really good, right? I saw that free kick he hit against Wolves. I saw the goal he hit against Southampton. Like, he seems a good technician. Like, he seems a good technical player, even though his passing can be erratic, losing the ball in culpable positions in the first half. But it's clear to see that his strengths rely solely when he's got the ball at his feet, because when he doesn't have the ball at his feet, he's not good. He's really not good defensively. In fact, he's quite poor. And I'm going to touch on Pedro Porro as we go on. But he is an attacking wing back. He's a wing back. So you're playing two wing backs at fullback, right? Surely try and use one to be the offensive threat and try and counteract that with the other being a bit more defensive minded, especially when you're coming up against a team like Newcastle at their ground who have only lost once here all season. But no, 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 no. That's not what we want to do. So I'm not going to kill Stellini for playing a back four per se because it's what I wanted. I can't then come here and criticize a man for playing a back four. It's what we wanted. It's what I wanted. But I can certainly question the profile player you're picking in that back four for sure. But again, I feel like just sticking to just the back four um, lets some of these players off the hook a little bit too much. We already know that some of these men can't play in the back four. I already knew Eric Dyer is in the back four. This guy gets exposed. I already knew that. Doesn't take a genius to work that out. Same for Perisic. Even Romero this season, shambles this season in comparison to last year. This guy was fantastic. This season, it's not even a back four, back five thing. You're just playing arse. You are just playing bad. But yeah, man, it's just a team who gave up and don't really care. They don't really care anymore about this season. I think a lot of men have checked out. Genuinely, I think a lot of men have checked out. A lot of men have checked out. And I just want to say this as well. I felt sorry for Pape Matar going off in the 23rd minute. I felt sorry for him because he wasn't the problem. I mean, he didn't have a good game from what I saw. I felt like our midfield in general were just way too what's the word I'm looking for? Our midfield lacked any sort of bite or intensity. I didn't see the urge to sort of put Newcastle under pressure when they had the ball. And off the ball, they were the complete opposite to us. They were way more positive. In fact, they were way more aggressive off the ball, and then on the ball they were way more positive. Midfielders that I don't even rate like that, Joe Linton and Joe Willock, they made our midfielders look like boys. So, yeah, man. That's all I have to say on the lineup. In fact, no, it's not. I don't really understand why Danjuma didn't start. I mean, the guy has played a grand total of what, like before yesterday, he had played a grand total of like 91 minutes. I don't get what this guy has to do to start a game of football. I really don't understand it, especially when Kulusevski's playing the way he's playing. I love Kulu. I think he's a really good player. But we can't lie to ourselves. We can't lie to our eyes. In 2023, this guy's been terrible for Spurs. Terrible, absolutely terrible. With the exception of maybe one or two games, sorry. Just drop him. Just take him out the firing line. I don't think at this point in the season it's a disrespect to Kulusevski, especially when you've got a player who looks like he can make a positive impact. I don't understand it. But let's actually talk about the goals, man. Let's talk about the goals because in fact let me go through some super chats as well. Yeah, let me just quickly go through some super chats and I'll go through some comments. Ash I says we must discuss the big boys, Kulusevski and Romero. Oh, we definitely will. I've already spoken about them now. I didn't even see a super chat, but I've spoken about them already. We'll talk about them for sure. And Jamie Allen says Ricky and Danjuma still got garbage minutes yesterday. Honestly, Bon Richarlison, man. I'm tired of defending this guy. Until he scores a goal, man, just shut up, man. Honestly. Not you per se, but just shut up, Richarlison. Just score, man. Honestly. Sick of it now. But Danjuma, I agree. But let's actually talk about the goals, man, because I mean, yet another horrible start to a game of football at St. James's Park for the second season in succession. Last year, Shocking start. I think we conceded within like the first minute. Callum Wilson was that at that time. This time, I mean, we kicked off. We kicked off, and within 30 seconds, we lose the ball. Within 30 seconds, we lose the ball. I think it was the ball got I think the ball got played to Skip and he got pressed, lost the ball, and they moved the ball to their right hand side, right? Kieran Trippier finds who was it that he found in between the lines? I can't even remember. It might be Jacob Murphy, or I can't even remember who it was. Yeah, I think it might have been Jacob Murphy, but found someone through the lines who then switched the ball out wide to Joelinton. And at this point, Joelinton is facing our box. He's facing our box. Pedro Porro is there. Romero is there. Now, this is what I don't understand. Pedro Porro he obviously wants to, Joelinton is right-footed. He obviously wants to come inside and shoot. He obviously wants to come inside and shoot, right? Don't give him the opportunity to do so. Now, I don't think it was good defending from Pedro Porro, but I have sympathy for Pedro Porro because if memory serves me well, there was a run that a Newcastle player made to the left, to Porro's right hand, to Porro's right hand side, or to the left of the screen, which took away his attention. Which is what you want to do if you're a team attacking. That's what you want to. That's what you want. You want decoy runs that pulls away defenders. Fair. Okay, cool. The responsibility then gets passed on to Romero. Your hand's already behind your back. You've not even made an attempt to block the ball. You've let this guy skip past you and then have a clear sighting at goal. I don't even understand why that happened. I don't understand why that happened. And the only explanation I can give is that Romero is just a bozo. You're not sensible because that's not sensible defending. It makes no sense for you to do that. Get tighter. Get tighter to the man and close off his angle for a shot. Instead of worrying about the handball. Yeah. Get tight. Get as close to the guy as possible. There is a real pandemic in this team when it comes to engaging with players, right? And I've given Romero the blight in the past simply because the team doesn't press. But the one time when we actually want you to be aggressive and go and meet the opposition, you don't do it. It makes no sense, man. And it's Bozo defending from a Bozo. I like the guy. I think he's a good defender, but he's been an absolute disgrace this season. It's been one game too many. One game too many where I've said, wow, Romero, you've been poor. Romero, what are you doing? Romero this, Romero that. You have had an absolute howler of a season. If last year was a great campaign, or in fact, a really good campaign, this year's been a really bad campaign. Rubbish. He's been arse. He's been arse. And the fact that he's meant to be our best centre back, you're not leading by example at all. At all. It's pathetic defending. It's pathetic defending. And then the follow up, Jacob Murphy taps in for one. The second goal. The second goal, one ball over the top. One ball over the top. And maybe here's where you could probably make a case and say, you know what? If Spurs were playing a back three instead of a back four, maybe someone would have been able to clock Joelinton's run because there would have been a spare man. Someone would have been able to clock and follow his run and not give him the freedom of our box to go past Lloris and side foot at home for 2-0. But no, you're defending in the back four. You need to be aware of your surroundings. And Pedro Porro, man, off the ball, this guy is really problematic on early glance. On an early looking off the ball, this guy just doesn't really know where his marker is. Doesn't really know where his marker is, man. And Joelinton is your guy. You've seen the run. You've not followed it. And Romero, sometimes just clear your lines. Head the ball away, engage, do something. Yeah. If sometimes you don't hear the shout from the goalkeeper, sometimes you don't know what's behind you, just get rid of the ball. I don't know what he's doing. He's seen the ball coming and he's just let it go over him. I just don't understand it. Now, let me caveat this by saying I don't think Pedro Porro is a bad player. I don't think Romero is a bad player, right? But this is bad defending. Romero has had a bad season. Pedro Porro looks bad at defending. Now, I'm going to give Pedro Porro the benefit of the doubt this season, right? Because the few glimpses of attacking quality, I like what I can see from this guy going forward. I like it. But I don't like how careless he is with the ball in our own half. And I don't like how bad he is without the ball when it comes to defending the opposition. I don't like it. And I can't lie. It's looking like we may have the opposite of Emerson. We have someone who can attack and isn't even average defensively. He just looks bad defensively. But I don't even want to go too in on him because he's got next year. He's with him. I think with him, with Romero, with a lot of our team, I do think there is a serious deficit in coaching this season. I feel like players simply haven't been able to be utilized to their best because they've just not been put in the right system to actually get their best performances. That's just my opinion. And I feel like a better coach gets more out of Porro. And I feel like a better coach gets more out of Romero. However, you can't defend like you did yesterday. Coaching, no coaching, you can't defend like you did yesterday. You just can't. So, as far as yesterday is concerned, they both deserve to be criticized, especially Romero. You're meant to be the guy that can actually defend. You're meant to be our best centre back. And that's how you're defending? It's pathetic, man. It's pathetic. Honestly, it's pathetic. Um, anyway, yeah. Listen, Porro is next season's problem as far as I'm concerned. I don't like what I'm seeing defensively, but you're a new signing. And who knows who the next coach will be? Who knows what plans they'll have for Porro? Who knows whether they want to keep Emerson and interchange with Porro for specific games? Because it's looking like Pedro Porro probably isn't the one you want where you're going to be under the cosh for the majority of the game. Anyway, let's see. But Romero, this season, it's been a bust, an absolute bust. And even Fabian Schär as well, like even before he played the past, there's no pressure. When teams play Spurs and we have the ball, it feels like it's the hardest thing ever to build play and actually get the ball from our half into the opposition's half. And I think that's a combination of us being really bad at playing out from the back. And I think that's also credit to the teams that are playing us because they're brave and they want to press high and they want to cause problems, which is what Newcastle did yesterday. But when it's the reverse and the opposition have the ball, there is minimal pressure from our front line. There's minimal pressure from our midfield. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Anyway, let me just quickly go through some super chats before I talk on the third goal. Big up Emmanuel Morales. He says, "I feel bad for Spurs fans this season. For you all remind me of, you remind me of United on the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer last season. Just knowing you're going to get battered in every game you play, boy." Scary hours, bro. Scary bloody hours. I'm seeing a lot of comments about Pedro Porro in the chat. Yeah, man. I will say this: despite the criticism, we still need to give him a fair opportunity, man. Because I feel like even though he's playing games now, he's come into a team that are going through some horrific moments, and I feel like it's very easy for any player now to drown. Very easy for any player to drown. No player comes off of any sort of credibility after yesterday at all. And whilst heads need to roll, there are certain players that can offer Spurs something that even will look like a pile of cack right now. So there are some players that Spurs are going to keep, and we need to see what they can do under a new coach. And I think Pedro Porro probably falls into that category. He does. He does. And to be honest, I think his really and truly, when I think of Pedro Porro, I feel like it's largely come in the last like 2-3 matches where like he's gone from being like that plucky attacker who looks vulnerable defensively to wow, you're actually really bad defensively. Because I think obviously he's had the nightmare game against Bournemouth and then he's had a follow-up bad game against Newcastle. So that stays fresh in your mind, right? But he showed some positive signs in the games prior. So let's see what he can do next year. But I'll be real, he has to pattern up on his defending. He has to. Anyway, actually, let me go on this comment as well. This is actually an interesting one. So, Porro is another signing that will probably not fit the next manager's system. They should have just kept Spence around and gave him some playing time, more money wasted. Who knows? But I do think this is generally a problem with Spurs. On top of the fact that we lack technical quality throughout the team, on top of the fact that we lack an abundance of players that are actually good at defending. We have a lot of players who been who either can't play the current way we're trying to play, are not good enough to play a more expansive game, or have been bought to play the style which Conte wanted, i.e., wing backs. So it's a bit of a techie one, but I feel like players like Pedro Porro and Destiny Udogie, they're young enough that maybe they can make some improvements in their performances. And I feel like if the midfield balance is sorted, you can cater for an extremely offensive fullback, as we've seen some of the best sides do. Man City did it with Cancelo. Liverpool did it with Trent Alexander-Arnold. But obviously that ultimately requires that fullback in question to be able to provide like a really good level of quality on the ball. And Pedro Porro has been a bit mixed so far at Spurs, but who knows? Let's see. Let's see. Anyway, let's talk on the third goal. Because this third goal is a living embodiment of one of the things I've hated seeing for Spurs. And I saw it a couple of times last season. And I've seen it throughout this season. There is this fascination we have in our build-up play where we ask Son to come short in his own half to get the ball. Why? Why do we do this? Why do we do this? And then Son will get pelters. You lost the ball. This, that, and the third. Why? Why do we put players in positions where we know they're going to struggle? Why do we do this? Why do we do this to ourselves? They had already set a trap for Son. They're closing off all our options to play out from the back. Eric Dyer is on the ball, right? He sees Son coming short as instructed to get the ball. And Newcastle, do you not think they would have spoken about this in the lead up to the game? Do you not think they would have highlighted Spurs' weaknesses? What are some of Spurs' weaknesses? We have a lot of them. What's one of Spurs' weaknesses? Swarm Son when he gets the ball in his own half, because he's not good at retaining the ball, turning out and finding a midfielder or an attacker or dribbling out. Right? Okay. So that's what they did. That's exactly what Newcastle did. Son got the ball and bang, 2-3 man on him. Took the ball off him. Jacob Murphy was one of them. Dribbled. 30 yards out. No pressure. No pressure on the ball whatsoever. Yeah. Big up Elijah from Mugger as well. So within the touchline media network, right? Obviously we have the different club pods, but Elijah he's a Man United fan, and he wrote a really good. He writes articles for Breaking the Lines. You know, I'm sure you've seen Breaking the Lines on Twitter. He wrote a really good article on Tottenham that perfectly encapsulates a lot of the issues that we have. And one of the issues we have is that whilst we don't, because of the way we play, where we put so many men behind the ball and we sit so deep, Spurs don't actually concede like a high level of XG per game, right? But we concede a lot of shots. So whilst we're not conceding a lot of high quality chances game on game, we're conceding a lot of low quality shots. And that's a result of Spurs not putting pressure on the opposition when they're within 25, 30, 20 yards to have lots of attempts at goal. So a fair share will go wide, but ever so often, some of these people taking shots are good strikers of the ball. And ever so often, they're going to work Lloris. And then, ever so often, they're going to score. Odegaard against us at our ground, which Lloris should have saved, right? Michael Keane away at Everton, zero pressure on the ball. He scored the equaliser. And then you see Jacob Murphy yesterday. Yeah, 30 yards out. No pressure from Sarr. No pressure from any of the defenders. Freedom of the pitch to just dribble, and smack the ball into the far right corner. And Lloris just standing there flat-footed. Why are you not moving to save that? So there's a series of issues here. One, persisting in this incessant need to play out from the back with Son involved when this isn't his MO. Two, a continual repeat or continued lack of pressure on the opposition when they're in our half. And three, Hugo Lloris seemingly not being able to save anything now. It's got to the point now where Lloris is that cooked that he just can't save anything now. He can't save a damn thing. Just watching the ball just go in. And then the fourth goal. Oh my days, man. The fourth goal. I don't even. I mean, Eric Dyer is the one that's playing. Is it Dyer or Porro that's playing Isak onside? I can't even remember who it was. I think it was Dyer. One sec. Let me even check. I think it was Dyer. Yeah. Yeah, man. Look at this photo. Ah, Lord. So we try to play high, and I've seen this from Nathan A. Clark. He does the extra inch. We try to play a high line, sort of a high line, when we were trying to chase the game at 3-0 down. Just look at this line. Just look at this defensive line, if you can see that. Sorry. Yeah. Look at that defensive line. That's our back four. That's our back four. The deepest is Dyer. The second deepest is Porro. Or is that Porro? Yeah, the second deepest is no. Sorry. No. Yeah. That's our back line. So that's actually not Porro. That's Romero. So the deepest is Dyer. The second deepest is Romero. Perisic is basically behind the Newcastle attacker, and Pedro Porro isn't even in shot because he's high up the pitch. That's our back line. That's our back line. Fantastic pass from Joe Willock. I've given this guy a lot of stick. Anyone who's been watching my content for the last 2-3 years, I've given this guy a lot of stick, and he was fantastic yesterday. Couldn't touch him, and that was a superb pass. Superb pass into Isak, who slotted calmly past Lloris. Good finish. Good finish. But just look at that. Look at that shape. Look at that organization. Why are you so deep, Dyer? Is it maybe because you can't defend so high up the pitch? Plays him offside. Of course, backtracking. Bang. Goal scored. Number 4. Number 5 is hilarious to me because number 5, you're just rattled. Like, that was literally 2 minutes after number 4. Newcastle just so slick. Great little bit of interplay on the right-hand side, which I feel like they overloaded a lot during the game. I wonder why. Eric Dyer and Perisic on that side. I wonder why they overloaded that right-hand side a lot. Their right-hand side and our left-hand side. And then Isak slots it past Lloris. Another shot that I feel like Lloris, you've got to get a hand to. You've got to get a hand to. I put on my on the video story that like Spurs were basically Leeds, but just with Harry Kane. I meant that. Our defense, both defenses are shocking. Both midfields can't really control games and give the opposition way too much space and time. Look at Leeds when they got smacked 6-1 by Liverpool. They gave Liverpool the freedom of Ellen Road to play, right? And right now we've got 2 French goalkeepers who don't want to save anything. I wasn't around when the Everton game was on, so I couldn't do a preview or post-match. But I remember saying to my friends, why is Lloris in the team? And I love Lloris. I've got all the respect for Hugo's time at Spurs, but it's done. It is finished. Fraser Forster has actually played at a good level for Spurs when he's come into the team. Lloris cannot play another game for Spurs this season. I'm sorry. He can't. It's done. And there were rumors coming out that he refused to come on. Obviously, they said he got injured. If those rumors are true, absolutely he can't play. I'm doubling down. He cannot play. If those rumors are true, that's a disgrace, man. That's an absolute disgrace. Captain. And you're playing like that. And you're acting like that. Nah. Pathetic, man. Absolutely pathetic. So yeah, Spurs are basically the Leeds of the top 6. All the characteristics apart from one, which is we've got a bagsman up top. They haven't. I don't see any other difference. So yeah, 5-0 down. Good play from Newcastle. 5-0 down in 21 minutes. An absolute crashing. And it could have been more as well. I remember Joe Willock missed. Was it Joe Willock? Yeah. He missed an absolute sitter when he got into the box and blazed it over the bar. Again, result of shocking defending all over the pitch, right? Midfielders not putting pressure on the ball. Fullbacks not following their man. The ball then Newcastle players then come into our half or come close to our box. Romero goes flying in, takes out Longstaff. A gap opens up. Joe Willock gets the ball and he blazes over. Just a shambolic side. So, yeah, the 4 at the back definitely made a bad situation worse. But what I'm trying to sort of keep at the forefront is it's a bad situation. This is a bad team defensively. This is a team that have conceded over 50 goals in 32 games. We still have what, like six games left to go, I think. 5, 6 games left to go. We've already matched our tally of defeats for last year. We've already conceded around what, like, what was it? We've conceded, I don't know, like I think we conceded around like 10 more goals than we already have last year with like 6 games left to play. It's mental, man. It's mental. It's just a shambles. It's just a shambles, and we deserve this. I deserve this. I deserve this for putting faith in players that have let me down. Levy deserves this for letting the club get to the position it has done. Conte deserves this for the way he set up this team. Højbjerg deserves this for the amount of shocking performances he's given us. Romero deserves this for the amount of bad performances he's given us this season. Lloris deserves this for the amount of shocking performances he's given us this season. You get what you reap what you sow, right? Embarrassing, absolutely embarrassing. And this team, genuinely, it's become one of the most dislikable teams. And I wouldn't have said this at the start of the season. This team genuinely has become one of my most dislikable Spurs teams. Honestly. And we need mass change. Absolutely. We need mass change. I mean, rocking up to Newcastle with Skip and Sarr starting regularly. I wanted Sarr to start, to be honest, and I hope he can start against actually, who do we have next? Wow, Anfield, that's a tough one. I would still want him to play over Højbjerg, genuinely. I think that's how bad Højbjerg is playing. I think this guy, he's cooked as well. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. But even the better players, Son has been an absolute disgrace this season. Kulusevski, formers fell off a cliff, shocking. Been shocking in 2023. Absolutely shocking. I don't buy into this notion that Spurs, because I've seen some fans say stuff like, oh, we shouldn't sign Kulusevski on a permanent deal. That's mad to me. That's mad to me. He's one of the few players in this team that actually has technical quality, that has actually shown you that he can be a really good player for Spurs. He can be an important player for Spurs. And some fans don't want to keep him. That's mad to me, but it's a reflection of how bad he's playing. I would never say such a thing because I believe in this guy's talent 1000%. This guy's a very good footballer, but he's playing so bad. He still has credit in the bank for me. He does. I can't lie. And I think we need to remember that in the first half of the campaign, this guy was one of our best players. One of our best players. And when he was injured, you saw the absence felt massively. Massively. So I'm going to give him time. Players like him, players like Romero, even players like Pedro Porro, I'm going to give time. Because whether we like it or not, these are the better ball players in the team. You want to keep those guys around. I've lost my patience for men like Højbjerg. I don't even want to speak on Dyer, to be honest. I've made my thoughts clear on the possibility of this guy getting a new contract. Lost my patience with man like Sessegnon. Even Perisic, get rid of him this summer. I'd be happy with that. I'd be happy with that. Lloris, go. Go. Even Son. If there was a good bid for Son, go. Genuinely. I don't think change should frighten anyone anymore at Spurs. Doesn't frighten me, whether it's good change or not. But we need to do something different because it can't go on like this. That That is, you can't recover from that. I'm sorry. That's lights out. 6-1, that's lights out. 6-1 says to me, you got to start again. You got to start again. I don't really know what more there is to say on Spurs, to be honest. I know obviously we conceded the sixth goal. Harry Kane scored his goal, consolation goal. Yeah, whatever, man. But, bruv, it's done. It's done. And obviously we see the reports that came out that apparently Harry Kane, Man United are doing their due. Matt Law put out some article. I don't really trust Matt Law's sources, to be honest. I don't really think he knows that much on Spurs, but I've always had it in the back of my mind that Harry Kane will leave Spurs this summer. And if he doesn't leave Spurs this summer, he'll leave next summer because he's not signing a new deal. And it's going to hurt, but it's life. I don't really see a reason why he should stay. I don't. And as far as the manager search is concerned, I feel sorry for who the next manager at Spurs is going to be, because whilst there are some good players, not loads, but there are some good players that you can work with, there are a lot of players that either don't fit or just aren't good enough that they're going to need to remove. One or two, which might have to be retained in the interim. Not to mention dealing with Daniel Levy. Not to mention Spurs need to hire a new director of football. The new manager is coming into a really, really bad mess at Spurs. Really bad. On top of the possibility of losing the best player Tottenham have had in the Premier League era in terms of performance as well as a possibility, it ain't easy. Word to Saeed, it ain't easy. It ain't easy. And even Kane, if he wants to leave, let him leave, man. Honestly, let him leave. Like, as long as Spurs get a good price, it is what it is now. Right? We've been trying with Kane for the last couple of years, trying and failing with Kane. It'll be painful to lose Harry Kane, but Spurs need change. And if that means selling our best player and making money back and start trying something new, then that's an option that Spurs should also consider. It is. What are you going to do? You're going to keep him. He doesn't sign a new deal and he leaves on a free. You want to lose Harry Kane on a free? Nah, man. It's pain, man. It's pain. There's pain in my eyes. You think I want to lose Harry Kane? You think I want to lose Harry Kane? It is what it is, man. Honestly. If the guy wants to leave and the team comes in with a bid, we'd be a good bid. We'd be fools not to take it. It's that simple. It's business. It's business. So yeah, that pretty much wraps it for me, to be honest. No player is untouchable. No player is indispensable. The ownership are a shambles. The mess that they've left us in the manager situation, in the director of football situation, in the attitude to actually refreshing the team. The coaching setup, that's been an outright disgrace this entire season. Conte included. Yes, Conte, the majority, the lion's share, and then Stellini. And then I'm sure I'll be saying the same thing in 2 or 3 weeks' time with Mason when we get hammered at Anfield and lose to Aston Villa at their ground. It's whatever, bro. It's whatever, bro. Anyway, Man United this Thursday. People want to do previews with me. I don't really have an appetite for this, to talk about this game, but yeah, I'll probably do something. I'll probably do something on Wednesday. I don't know, or a small video. I'm meant to be on Flex's channel tomorrow, the United View, so I'll probably be there. So you can check something out there. And yeah, I was actually meant to go to this game. I've not been to a Spurs game in yonks, you know. I think, when was the Milan game? The Milan was early March. Yeah, I don't think I've been to a Spurs game since Milan at home. Um, and I was actually going to go to this game, this United game, but yesterday, yesterday reconfirmed why it's just sensible to just swerve for the rest of the season, man. So yeah, I'm not going to go to that. I'll eat my dinner and just watch that on the TV or something. Anyway, people, 503 of you guys in here. Make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I don't have the answers for what we can do between now and the end of the season to make things better, because I don't believe things will get better. But anyway, keep your post notifications turned on. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Let me know your thoughts. Um, where do you see Spurs ending up in the summer? Who should be kept, who should be sold, etc., etc. Jamie Allen actually put in a super chat here. He says Sarr needs to start over Højbjerg from now on. I agree. I fully agree. I'm done seeing Højbjerg start games for Spurs. But the problem here is we don't actually have fit midfielders. So from now until the end of the season, unfortunately, this guy has to play. And it makes me sick. Well, sorry. If we're playing in a two, I don't want to see Højbjerg play. I need him dropped, play Pape Matar and skip together. If we're playing a three-man midfield, unfortunately, we have no choice because Basuma and Bentancur are injured. We have no one else that we can put in the midfield. And I don't believe Stellini is going to all of a sudden chuck Alfie Devine into the mix. I don't believe that. I would actually like to see maybe Kulu play in the 10. If you're going to play a back four, play Kulu in the 10, play Danjuma on the right, and play Sarr and Skip in the midfield. F it, why not? Why not? But anyway, that's just some thoughts. As I said, smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Look out for the THFC show tomorrow. Obviously, look out for the Big Six tonight. I'm going to be on Matisse's channel tonight for a live stream at 5, as always, London Clubs Carnage. So look out for that as well. And then, yeah, look out for me on KG's channel. Oh, sorry, KG and Flex's channel tomorrow, United View. And then, yeah, keep your eyes peeled for any sort of pre-match content I do for the United game. Probably on Wednesday. But yeah, bless up, people. Take care. Peace out.